Capital Xtra, what's going on? Robert Bruce in the building, Saturdays 4 till 7 p.m. You know, Homegrown, all that good stuff. Today, I have another one of those legends sat in front of me as well, yeah. He's come with a couple of friends as well. It's Stormzy in the building. Storms, how you doing?
I'm all right, my bro. How are you?
Not too bad, man. The hat's on, which means trim has not been done yet.
No, the trim has been done. The trim's
been done.
The trim's done. It's done. It's done.
Oh, okay.
There's not much under it, but it's done. It's done. We're ready.
Do you know what? I saw the Sunday Times cover.
Yeah,
and I thought, okay, it's that season now.
Exactly. So it was that season, and then I'm trimmed. So
all right.
Scary times. Scary times. Scary times approaching.
You know what? Today we've got a lot to talk about, and it's not all just music, you know. Not too long ago, you announced the Merky Books collaboration with Penguin. Yeah. How was that for you? And I was even thinking, I know the Penguin logo, but for a lot of people, we don't know what that collaboration actually means. So what does it mean to have an imprint?
Boy, for me, it's like 100. You see what you said about you saw the logo and you was like, for me, that's exactly how I felt. As in, like, we've gone through primary school, secondary school, and this logo is so like ingrained. And so, to anyone who's been like, to anyone who's gone to school and read books, like that logo is like, okay, we know that logo. So to have that synonymous with the Merky brand, I thought like, this is powerful. This isn't music based. This isn't based off of anything other than literature. Like, this is just for literature, and like, and for that reason alone, that's why it's important, because this is bigger. This isn't about Stormzy or Merky or none of that. This is about literature and about books, things that will be here way after I've gone and we've all gone. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it was just very powerful and very. It felt like, I don't like to say it, but you know when people say for the culture. Yeah. I don't like to say that, but I felt like this was something that is way bigger than myself, and something that lasts longer than I do. So yeah, for that reason, I was very proud. What was the inspiration behind the project? Like, was it presented to you, or is it something you've always, as grown up, thought, oh, I like to do that? Do you know what? I said Jude was actually the inspiration for the whole thing, in the sense of, I saw Jude writing on, so I've been following Jude for about, for a long time now, about 5, 6, 7 years maybe. I'm probably like 2012, 2013. And then I always thought he would put up like blogs, reviews, different forms of writing, essays, like loads of different things. And I would always read them. And I used to think, wow, this is really, really, really good. And then I remember hitting up Jude and saying like, yo, like, do you have any plans or like doing anything? Because, and it's so mad, because I don't even want to tell the story on like a kind of, like on a kind of like savior kind of, as in, I saw that, and it was like, it was very genuine in the sense of, I saw his work, I was like, that's sick. Hit him up like, yo, would you do anything? And then off of that, I hit up Akua, my brand manager, and I said, yo, AK, like, we should like have like a book imprint. I was thinking, surely that's possible. Everyone wants to set up record labels and football agencies. I was like, right, man, can we set up something for books? And she was like, yeah. And then lo and behold, we're here. So yeah, that was the inspiration.
Awesome. Jude, you're the editor and co-writer of the book, right? We're going to be talking about the book very, very soon. But the thing with Merky Books, which is really interesting, it's not just a set up your label, release your own music sort of thing, or set up an imprint and do your own thing. You also want to create a platform for like the next generation.
100%.
And we have living proof
exactly
of that in the building right now. Would you like to let us know who's in the building with us?
In the building, we do have Jude, who co-wrote and edited Rise Up, the #Merky story, and we also have an incredible young lady called Chelsea, who has a book coming out on the Merky Books imprint alongside another young incredible lady called Ore. The book's called Taking Up Space. It'll be out in June 2019, but she's right here, so I'm going to let her tell her story.
You're like the first signing of Merky Books. What was that process like for you?
I mean, so the first time I actually met Storms was at when he launched the Cambridge Scholarship.
Oh, yeah.
So when you see someone who you listen to their music, you kind of know them as a person, and then all of a sudden, like, they're interested in the things you're interested in. So like education, diversity, like creating this platform. It was just amazing. So we had this idea, Ora and I, when she wrote this article last year called A Letter to My Fresher Self, which is just basically about the black girl experience at university is very different to a normal university experience, especially when you go somewhere like Cambridge. And that article blew. It got a lot of traction. And we were involved in the African Caribbean Society as well. So we were like, why don't we just write a book? why don't we talk about our experiences, because people can definitely relate. So yeah, when Merky Books was announced, that was the perfect platform to, you know, publish our book under. So yeah, that was the process, and yeah, that's going to be the second book that will be out next year.
Coming out next year. And you just graduated, right?
Just graduated in June. I'm fresh.
Straight into the big wide world, just like that.
Can I quickly add something as well? The reason why I think Chelsea's book's so important is because another reason why we started up Merky Books was to offer these kind of new perspectives in literature. As in, I feel like there might not ever have been like a book from like a young MC or a young rapper or a young black South Londoner, like his come up or whatever that was, if it wasn't for like Jude and this story. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure like that you could walk into your local library and see that on the shelf. Do you know what I mean? So I thought the story of the young black South Londoner is an incredible story. That's a beautiful, important story. And so is the story of the young black girl in Cambridge or the young black girl at university. That's a story and a perspective that we know, like, as in, it was so sick to see Chelsea talking to Vicky at Capital just now, and they was having a little discussion about Cambridge, this and that, and I was like, so it's real. It's not like
it's just that we don't see it.
It's not like Chelsea just making it up. Like, this needs to happen. It's like, right, that's real. As in, like, those experiences are happening. So that should be a story. That is a story. Like the young black girl in university at Cambridge. That's a story, and that's a perspective, and that's a whole lifestyle, and so many things that we're not aware of that we should be. That should be a story out there. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I'm most proud of the Merky Books venture. Yeah.
And when coming into like the book game, what are the challenges that you sort of face there? Because for me, like, it's not really been done. I've never seen no one do this, so I've never seen anyone go through the process to say, "Oh, that was tricky. Mind out for that." Did you come across stuff that was quite difficult?
Not yet. Not yet. If I'm being dead honest, I think for me the main boundary I'm probably gonna face is the fact that I am a rapper. As in, rap isn't synonymous with literature. Do you know what I mean? As in, actually, to tell a lie, it is, but also, but the reason why I say that is because I think it is, but I think it's more off of the fact that, like, rap is to do with words. I think that's the link with it. It's like, okay, we're poets, and even then, it's like we're street poets. It's like, but I feel like
there has to be a box to put you in.
Yeah. So for me, it was like, I think what I may face down the line is this whole, like, having a rapper on a venture in literature, or like, maybe that's not like I'm not J.K. Rowling, innit? I'm not a professor at a university. I'm not some sort of literature expert. So I think maybe down the line that might be something I face. But even then, I shouldn't even put that out there, man. I don't think we're gonna face anything. I think Merky Books is a statement in itself and a powerhouse in itself in terms of, like, being a force of culture and, like, black culture in literature, because I'm not too familiar with everything, but I haven't seen like a force of, like, black literature. Do you know what I mean? In the UK anyway, I can't mention like a array of black authors off of the top of my head, and that's not to be ignorant, because I'm sure there's many incredible, but I think it will just be beautiful to kind of see like a driving force.
And it's good to know as well, that you can come from that standpoint and be like, all right, I'm not the expert in this, I don't know too much, but I feel there's a gap here that needs to be done. Because I feel
100%.
A lot of the time, especially with young people, we feel like we need all the knowledge before we can contribute to a conversation.
Yeah.
But if you see a gap, you just sort of got to
100%.
No, powerful stuff. Rise up. The Merky story so far.
Exactly.
Jude, let me come to you, Have you worked on a project like this before?
I haven't, but, like, I felt confident in the sense that I literally feel like I can write anything now. But like you were saying, where to apply the skills and where to actually go to see that route as something attainable, like, is very nuts. Like, coming from where I come from, the idea of being a writer was so far and distant that it was just like, yes, like J.K. Rowling, or who else is there? So I pictured it as I'm going into this project with, like, my skill set that I've worked on for years. in terms of writing, I was confident, but it's just like Stormzy was saying, there was no go-to in a sense that would be able to.
There's no like reference point.
Yeah, there's no reference point, and we just wanted to go in it totally fresh. And one thing I was kind of worried with at the start was the idea of creative control, like whether they would let us do what we want with it. But Penguin were very understanding, and one thing that I've even learned through the process is that the heights that like Stormzy's reached, like through music and stuff, it's got to a point where they're rubbing shoulders with people on a mad level. Like people approach the Merky team wanting to understand what they can gain from the situation rather than just using them as an asset. So it's very much their own thing. And so when it's relayed into the actual writing, it's like, right, this is their story. This is their like substance and energy just basically infused into a book. And I can imagine like 10 years ago, for example, like when I was like 15, 14, like there was none of this. Like even in contrast to music, like we still had people that were popping, but we never had someone at a height that could literally shift or impact the community with what they can do. So yeah, I'm just like mad proud to be one of the first writers to, you know, bring something to the table.
Serious accolade, one of the first writers, you know. You said it very lightly, like it's a small little thing. Talk to me about the Merky team though, because it is in the book. Like, how my intro to you was through the freestyles, so the Wicked Scared Man freestyles, and you've got all of your people around you. How do you go from that to streamlining like different roles into, okay, you do this, we're gonna build this empire for coming from where you're coming from?
I think that's that question, I think, is also one of the main reasons why we decided to do the book. Because at first, so we set up #MerkyBooks with Penguin, and then Penguin always had the idea of like launching it with like a Stormzy book, and I was always very reluctant to that because I said, like I'm 20, like I'm at the time I was mad early. Yeah, I'm 24. I got one album. It's like I'm very much at the beginning of my career. As much as, thank God, I've managed to achieve some incredible things along the way, it's still very much early in my career. So I was very skeptical about the idea, but the way they presented it was like, it's not going to be the Stormzy story. It's like the #Merky story. It's the story, because I'm just a man. I'm one man, and there's so many different people in my team and people behind me who have helped me realize my dream. Our dream together. So the Rise Up the Merky story is literally documenting the whole process of me kind of assembling this team and then us achieving the things we achieved. Because even you asking me that, like what was my thoughts, like how was I trying to, I had no idea. I had no idea. There was no blueprint. I didn't actually really know what I was doing. And that's another reason why I didn't want to write a book, because I was like, yo, like I'm very strategic and I'm very meticulous, but I very much I couldn't give you a timeline of like, okay, I did this and I went there and then I said, okay, I need to go and get a PR, and then I said, okay, all right, we need to, it wasn't like that. It was this very natural human process of figuring out how to realize my dream. And that's what Jude does incredibly. It's a beautiful timeline of me like having ideas and then pitching them and then going here, and then that happens, and then I have to react to that. So now I've got a tour manager and then I have to react to that, and now I've got a booking agent. So it is this kind of mad story, and that's the reason why I really wanted this book to come out, because it's a true story. It's a true account of a dream being realized. It's not a fake account in terms of, yeah, guys, like I'm gonna kick it to you and tell you like I got all my stuff together and this is how I did it. It's like, no, like, yo, I was figuring it out. We were all figuring it out. Me and Toby was trying to put our heads together. Sometimes we knew, sometimes we didn't, and it's a very human, natural process. And I think that's important, where it's like, take away the flipping polish and the
final art.
Take away all of that. Talk about the bumps and the bruises, and let people know that each journey is different. This is my journey, and it's a mad, crazy one, and let yours be true to yourself. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
And even in the way that it's written, it's like accounts from different people as well. So you're gonna get a mad perspective of the whole sort of thing. So it's not just coming from you and this is what happened all with me.
Exactly. And that's, for me, anytime I'm reading a story, or I'm watching a movie, or someone's telling me something about a specific thing, I'm the person, I always want to know the behind the scenes, because I always understand that there's no way, even if it's a perfect, like Michael Jackson, the biggest icon to ever have walked the planet, the thing that intrigues me the most is I know Michael Jackson's talents, but I know that there has to be someone who does that, and there's someone who was the reason for that, and all of these mad stories. So for me, reading the book kind of felt like, you know, when you watch one of them sick Netflix documentaries, and then you got the person, and then the person's cousin pops up and says, all right, so yeah, this guy was doing this when we was 10, and then his the guy that signed him at the record label pops up and he says his story. That's exactly what the book feels like. It's like this motion picture of all these different accounts of all these different stories and memories and things that happened in order to let me be Stormzy. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, man, it's beautiful.
I hear that. And also in the book, you touch on like social media and staying in the real world and stuff.
Yeah.
Wherever I go, whether it's like talks or panels, I did one recently, it's a question that everyone asks. So like, do you proper benefit from the time you take away? Like, do you need it?
100%. I think as a human, this is anyone listen. I think it's just like with anything in life, it's in doses. You got to take it in doses, and it's got to be mediated, and you got to be on top of whatever it is. But even if you're spending too much time with someone. Do you know what I mean? You know, you know, like back in the day when your mum says, "Oh, you're always with that boy." Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? You got it's like you got to take things and don't immediate. Okay, so like, wow, am I watching too much telly? Am I doing too much that? Am I spending too much time in the gym? What are you doing? And I think social media is another thing, but with that, there's no limit to us. Everyone seems like that's the thing where we're always on and we're always on it, and it's like, yo, like that's like anything else. You can't. If I was on the phone all day, every day, like talking to someone, people would say to me, yo, get off the flipping phone. So I think it's exactly the same. So without getting too much on a deep one, it needs to be mediated, 100%.
And you guys spoke about the Cambridge scholarship, right?
Yes.
What sort of kids were you lot in school? Like, who would your friends say, he was that person in school?
Do you know, this is about to be so sick, because I know what kind of kid Jude was.
What sort of kid was you in school?
I got expelled from school.
No way.
Yeah, like when I was 13, I was mad naughty. Like primary school, I was just active. I had too much energy and I didn't have any like creative kind of forms. I didn't just need creative forms. It was more just like direction. But I was very like smart as a kid as well. So I knew what I was doing, but I just liked to act that way. And then it was when I got kicked out of school, like things got real, innit? Like I was in centre, and there was just like bare different gangs, bare different boroughs, and it's like, I'm not even that bad. Yeah. Like when I was in that situation, it was like, I'm not that bad. I need to get my stuff together before like it's too late. That way. Yeah, it could go that way. And there's even this like example in the book that people keep like reminding me of, but like, in one of the introductions, I was just stating how like in centre, one of my teachers told me like, if you get stabbed, like hold the knife in your body and make sure like the blood doesn't leak out, so the ambulance, if they come, they can save you. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, thank you for that. But then like looking back on that, I'm thinking, why am I 14 years old learning about how to survive like a stab wound? Like I'm 14. If I was 14 now, I would love the idea of just being inspired or being able to see people like myself in a position where they could create projects like Merky Book and Rise Up, because you can actually read into people's stories and understand like the lineage. So yeah, I think it's all kind of important, but yeah, I was pretty nuts in school.
I was fine. I was a good kid, but it does make you think a lot about teachers and kind of what perceptions teachers have of you. So I was lucky where my teachers kind of thought that I was smart, thought that I had potential, so they really kind of capitalized on that. But then there were people in my school, you know, that wasn't the case, and you kind of realize that that really shapes whether you're a good kid or not. So, but yeah.
I hate that. And Storms, what was you like in school?
In school, I was a mixture of these two. I think, if I'm being honest, I didn't quite get kicked out because I think I played that fine line very, very, very well, almost too well. As in, I think there's some teachers who probably look at me and think, you little, you my bad, sir. I think they probably think, right, you made it, boy. Like, as in, you did good to make it. Like, you should have probably been kicked out a long time ago. Yeah, as in, you flipping.
You used to terrorize me.
Yeah, you found the loopholes in the system. You shouldn't have made it through. But I was a mixture of both. But even hearing these guys' stories, I think that's another testament to Merky Books, that the Black British experience needs to be documented. That's something that Jude 100%. Kept on saying to me as well, like the Black British experience and the history of our musical, it needs to be documented, because even, I think the most incredible thing about it is that a lot of the time I feel like Black British culture isn't actually something that Britain as a culture is aware of. As in, I think there's Black Britishness and there's being British, and I don't think they're synonymous. I think if you're Black British, you know all about Britishness. And if you're just British, Black Britishness isn't something that is familiar to you. Yeah. And that's not even, I don't think it's a super negative. I don't think it's like, oh my God. I just think that's the reality of the situation. You know what I mean?
And it's up to us to change it.
100%. And I think it's up to us to change it. So all it is about getting these stories out there via literature, via Merky Books, via all these incredible musicians that have been coming up recently, via all these new incredible actors that are here, all of these that new kind of breakthroughs in Black Britishness is what's gonna, like, do you know what I mean, show the rest of the country that, yo, there's a Black British experience. It's beautiful. It's something that we should all be filled in on. There are young Black girls who go to Cambridge. There are young Black guys who get kicked out of school, and that's a story. Do you know what I mean? But there's also young Black guys who have success stories, and there's a full spectrum. It's not just I Rude by Wagwan, and it's not just grime, and it's not just do you know what I mean? It's not just that. It's a full spectrum. There's literature, there's education, there's engineering, there's art, there's the creative industry, there's this, there's that. It's a full spectrum, and I think Merky Books is just a little part of breaking through and like kind of getting the word out there that there is a full Black British experience. So we'll play our little part.
100%. We're documenting it well now. Thank you guys for even coming in, letting me be part of this journey to see where it's going to go. We don't even know where it's going to go. Man. Amen. Book's out now. Any dates we need to know about?
So Rise Up, the hashtag Merky Story so far is out right now. There's an audio book as well, so which is fun. We had to go record that little audio books. Chelsea and Ore, We've Taken Up Space is out June 2019. That'll be the second book released on the hashtag Merky's book imprint, and new music from the boy.
That's what I'm saying. We need to pencil in the album,
bro.
chat,
Do you know? I can't wait to have the album chat. I got you. I can't wait to have the album chat, because hopefully it's all very synonymous with this, and it's all like very much. It's all very much bigger than myself. Yeah. And we're moving towards something, and we got big goals. So yeah, I can't wait to come back and talk music.
All right, say no more. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for having us.